This was, in a lot of ways, a first for me in reverse headstock. First one. First guitar in orange. And I bought this because of the orange. I'm not going to lie. When I saw these online, there were two that I was attracted to. A baby blue version, which was the first baby blue I was ever attracted to. And it had only double humbucker. And they only had the orange with 3 pickups. I would have preferred just 2 pickups, but it was the only thing I could get. And I decided orange was the more important factor than the number of pickups. Alright, it had a roasted neck. The grain on the neck is very nice. The tuners that came on it are still original on here. Never had to change them, they were decent. However, when it came, 3 pickups, 2 humbuckers, and a single with 1 tone and 1 volume and a 5-way switch, and I'm thinking, this guitar is not being allowed to reach its full potential. And this is also the first where my crazy creativeness electrically decided to rear its head, and I went nuts on, push-pulls and changing the pickups. So when it came in, the original humbuckers were 2-wire humbuckers. They were not terrible. I've kept them. The middle pickup stunk, basically. And so I ended up buying a set of Fleor pickups. This is a 14.5 bridge and a 7.5 neck. And together they work pretty nice. Now the middle pickup I recovered from the original pickup that came in on Oscar. This was the original Oscar, one of the original Oscar Schmidt pickups, of the middle one. Get it out. And I decided that I was going to have to do something different. And so I went all out. So, alright. You can see now that I have an extra one. And I went tone, volume, and volume. No volume on the center. If I was to redo it today, I probably would have went 3 volumes and no tone. Because, I rarely ever use this for any reason. Because I control that with the amp. But anyway, we have a tone. And the tone has a push-pull. And the push-pull has the Gilmore switch on it that allows me to have the neck and bridge on together. The same as if it was just a double humbucker guitar. And then I have the volume for each one, and each one is split with push-push switches on it. Not push-pull, they're push-pushes on this one. And a new 5-way switch with wafers. Alright, so it works just like you think it would. Push-pull, split, push-pull, split. 5-position selector switch, and standard tone. I can't remember what capacitor I put it in. Let me see. 33, looking on my drawing. 33. And the Gilmore. Now, this was also my first, what I consider to be complex bridge. This is a 2-way floating bridge, and at the time when I bought it, I didn't know that's what it was. I didn't know there was such a thing, actually. I didn't know that at the time that this was kind of like a Charvel copy. I had no idea what a Charvel was. And this was a 2-way floating bridge where you could, unlike a Strat, just wang forward. You can also wang backwards. And I didn't know that. And what I did was I put some bumpers in the back to be able to allow this to be set like a Strat, so that the springs would pull down on it and you'd only be able to do wanging in the front, even though I don't wang in the front either. But anyway, I didn't know until much later when my experience and educational level increased, and I realized that, you know, this was one of those. My experience with this type of bridge really took off when I ended up with the first Floyd Rose, which was like that, and I had to figure out, like, what the hell is that and how does it work. And so this is kind of like a partial Floyd Rose without locking nut, but anyway, it works the way I wanted it to. Now, before I started, you know, doing this video, I took this out a couple of days ago, and I was looking at it because, again, it hasn't been out since the last time it was used in 2022 to do Don't Fear the Reaper instrumental that I did. When you have to do it, I had to practice a long time to do that, and today I can't do it. I just don't know how to do it anymore. So anyway, this turned out pretty much the way I wanted it to. The American style string trees on this are the way to go. I've used barrels on some, which worked, and I'm not doing any more barrels. I'm only going to go with this style string tree from now on. It's the least amount of friction you can get on a string up here is this style of string tree. So highly recommend it. Change all your butterflies and anything else that you have to this type. Okay. Now, when I took this out a couple of days ago, I went over it and I had a problem with adjustments of the neck. When I did the frets on this neck originally, I did spot fret leveling, and I didn't do a full leveling like I do now, because I didn't know what I didn't know when I didn't know it. And up here, this has got somewhat of a compound radius, not as bad as some, but I do have a little bit of a bump up here, and I had a high fret which I tapped them down, but they're back up again. So I've had to make some adjustments. If I ever get this neck off here again, I would probably do the fall away up here to be able to prevent choking. I've had to do some adjustments. The action is still really low, but it could be better. But yeah, you know, it's good enough. It works. I can make it work, and I've gotten away from all the buzzing mostly. To get right up here, one of these still buzz. One of these frets. So this turned out the way I really wanted it to. It's a good player now. The one thing that I really, this is also a first. This is a guitar, like I said, a first of many things. Also a first of this inverted Strat style jack, which I would have preferred it just to be right there and easy. But yeah, that's one of those as well. So a lot of firsts on this. Oh, also the first with the ferrules in the back. Didn't really understand what those were initially either. And this started a lot of things for me. Did I scratch that? I might have scratched it. But anyway, the orange is the orange. Love the orange. All right, this is still my only orange guitar, and there's not many companies out there that are making guitars in orange. So this was the one I had to get when I could get it. The Fleor pickups that are in this are quite good. We're going to take a quick look and recap on these pickups. So right now the volume is down on the other two, and only the middle is is active. So the Oscar pickup was came in. It was quite good. The Oscar pickups, actually all the Oscar pickups are pretty good for you know, a 3-single style. So I recovered this one to go on here. Good output and articulation. This is an 8K pickup, believe it or not. So a 14.5, an 8K in the middle, and a 7.5 in the neck. So this one has no controls at all except for tone. And then if we go back to the bridge, good output and a little bit of a growl to it. And then when you split it, I put a Fralin resistor. This was also a first for Fralin resistors. So many firsts, guys, so many firsts. Fralin resistor 1K to keep the second coil up a bit, but not much. So you get kind of a single coil feel from it, but with the tiny little bit of extra in there, you still get a little bit of humbucking. And anyway, there's no noise on this guitar whatsoever. So you don't really have to worry about noise. And then if we go to the neck, it would be good if we turned it up. At 7.5, it sounds about the same kind of output as the 14 over here because of the position under the strings. So good output. And good articulation of the pickups. I can't remember if there was a model of these pickups or whatever from Fleor, but I got them off Amazon, CA, here in Canada. And you know, that works. Now while I had it out, I had not put the back cover on this guitar since I had originally done it. And I was thinking, why didn't I put the back cover on this guitar all this time? It was in the bag. So I looked in the back and I go, I had 2 springs. So with the readjustments and everything that I've done to it before this video, I ended up putting a 3rd spring in there, readjusting the claw and readjusting the neck, and making it ready for you today and me to actually finish it up completely, since I originally got this back in 22, I think. So yes, Zuwei, a few things, you know, were problematic, but after all of the work put into it, it's turned out to be quite the delight. So, Zuwei. This roasted neck has a very, very thin satin finish on it, and the color of it is different than a lot of the roasted necks I'm getting. And you see the beautiful grain on the back of that? That's really, really nice. And it transfers, to the front as well. It is nice to be in my collection. Really, really like it. I had a problem with the nut, of course. The slot here was cut too wide. And I had to put a shim. I cut a piece of plastic from a credit card or some other kind of a plastic card. And created a very, very tiny shim with the radius to go across the fretboard here, just in front of the nut. You can't see it. And and the other thing I did this week before I did this video was the slot in the nut here was cut too low for the low E string. It was actually touching the fret here after I remade the adjustments. I'd gotten away with it up until now, so I had to do the old CA glue trick, and I didn't use baking soda. I found that the baking soda trick can be good and it can be bad depending on how deep the hole is. When it's deep, and if you use baking soda, I found that you've got to put use those little pipettes. Put a little bit of crazy glue in the bottom, throw some baking soda in it, blow it away, make sure that it's hardened up, and then put some more and build it up a little bit layer at a time so that the baking soda can harden from the bottom up. When you fill it up and you try to fill it with the CA glue from the top down, it usually starts to harden before you get all the way down, and it does. And then you end up with softer meat underneath when you start to file again. So I use something that I bought specifically to be used with CA glue. It's very, very fine, like ceramic crystals. It's like very, very fine white sandy crystals is what they look like. And again, I put them in with a pipette and also the CA glue with the pipette, and I build it up. So I had to redo this this week, day before yesterday I think it was, and recut this so that I could get it to work properly. Rarely ever use that string open anyway, but I figured while I'm working on it, I might as well just fix it. I'm just like that. I can't help it. If something's wrong, I've got to try to fix it somehow or MacGyver it to make it work. And I've made this work the way I wanted it to. So the craziness in the electrics that went with the push-pulls and the Gilmore switch and the Fralin resistors laid the foundation on this one for many of the other mods that have come after this one, which we're going to see. So, thank you for listening to this episode, and appreciate all your support. Catch you in the next one.